What's up guys, this is Brett here from brettdev.com, coming at you again with another video. And today in this video I want to talk about, if you're moving to Thailand, is it better that you live in a Thai neighborhood or in a city? So I get a lot of questions about this. People ask me where's a good place to live, and I just need to preface this video by saying that I live in Chiang Mai. So if you've never seen this channel before and you've just stumbled across this video, I don't live in Bangkok. I've been all over Thailand. I've visited Bangkok and stayed there for a short period of time, but I've never lived in Bangkok. So I've lived in Chiang Mai for 3 to 4 years. So this video is my opinion based upon basically me living in Chiang Mai, which is a city in the north of Thailand. So firstly, I'm going to go through some of the pros of living in a Thai neighborhood versus living inside of the city. And then I'm going to go through some of the cons, why you probably wouldn't want to live in a Thai neighborhood, and then I'm going to go through some of the misconceptions that people have about living in a Thai neighborhood versus living in a town. Firstly, the main benefit of living in a Thai neighborhood versus living in the old city or in a big touristy area is it's cheaper, right? So it's cheaper to live in a Thai neighborhood in every possible way. So rents are about half the price. Food is about half the price, coffee is about half the price. Even if you go to your local shop and buy a beer, that's half the price. Okay, so that for me and for a lot of people, and just should be for most people in general, it's just cheaper. It's half price. So your money pretty much goes twice as far if you live in a Thai neighborhood. If you came to Chiang Mai for 6 months, you probably get a year if you actually moved out to a Thai neighborhood. That's how much cheaper it is to live outside the city. Secondly, it's just cleaner. You get cleaner air, the views are better. You really do become immersed in Thai culture, and it just feels like a cleaner living, obviously. But I guess that could be said for if you lived in any city, you're dealing with a lot of pollution and stuff like that. So that's kind of an obvious one, but it is a big one. So there's something that most people notice if they move out of the city into a neighborhood. The air is so much more fresher, and you got to remember, if you're going to be living somewhere, you don't want to be breathing pollution and shit all day long, which Thailand is kind of renowned for having polluted cities. So it's better for your health. That's kind of what I'm trying to say, I guess. The third reason is you get a better sense of community. So the people are nicer in a Thai neighborhood, which you might think to be the opposite. You might think the Thai people are going to hate on foreigners for moving into their neighborhoods, but actually it's quite the opposite. The people are much nicer the further outside the city you go, and you really do build a sense of community in the neighborhood that you live. So I've lived in this same neighborhood for about 2 years, actually maybe 2.5 years, and you start to spot faces. You get to know everybody. And I guess just like living in a small neighborhood anywhere in the world, but you don't get that really in the old city too much, or living in any big city. And yeah, it's much nicer. It's friendlier. That's kind of I guess the point. So those would be my top 3 pros for kind of living in a Thai neighborhood. It's cheaper, the air's cleaner, it's less polluted, and people are nicer, and there's a better sense of community. The cons, I would say, the 3 worst things about living outside of a city would be that firstly you have to take transportation. You have to kind of have your own transportation, or use public transportation if you want to get into the actual city, right? So I would recommend, if you live in a Thai neighborhood, that you get a motorbike. A lot of people don't want to get motorbikes, but you can still get a song tao or a tuk-tuk to get where you're going, but you're going to need to just obviously transport yourself to a city if you don't live in one. So that's kind of an obvious one. Secondly, you're not going to be around that many Westerners, so it's going to be harder to find Westerners to have conversations with. It's not to say that expats and stuff you're not going to come across them in the Thai areas, but they're going to be less of them obviously than in the old city. That being said, it's not really a negative, because a lot of the Westerners, if you're an expat or if you're in Thailand for a long time, a lot of the Westerners you'd meet in the old city are just going to be tourists anyway, so you're just going to have the same boring conversations with them over and over again. How long have you been here? Where are you going? Just the same crap. So any Westerns that you do meet, in a Thai neighbourhood, you're probably going to be more interesting and more on your level, because they're probably going to have lived here for a little while as well. But yeah, that would be, I guess, a kind of partial negative, that you can't just walk out your door and walk into a cafe and sit down and chat to 10 or 20 foreigners like you could in the city, right? So in a Thai neighbourhood, you're going to go to a cafe and everybody's going to be Thai. So you should probably learn just a little bit of Thai. It will help you get by as well. The third point, which over time it just becomes like not really a big deal, because you kind of get used to eating Thai food. But the third point would be, there's a massive shortage of Western food in Thai neighborhoods. So for example, if you wanted to get like an Indian or like a English breakfast, or just some like nice foreign food, like staple foreign foods that you're used to eating, it's going to be hard to find them in a Thai neighborhood. I mean, you might have like one place that does one type of food, but generally, if you want to eat good pizzas or anything like that, you're going to have to head into the city. Otherwise, you're just eating Thai food basically, which also is really nice. But yeah, that's kind of going to be missing from your diet. And if you want to keep it in your diet, you're going to have to make a little bit of effort and go a little bit further to go and get that type of food. A couple of misconceptions that people have about living outside of the city. So whenever I recommend this to people, and by the way, this was like the best thing I ever did. Like, as soon as I moved to Chiang Mai, I had to hook up a friend. He was like, "You need to move out of the city." I did it, and looking back, I think to myself, I'm so glad that I met that guy, my friend Mike, by the way, who he's been on this channel. I'll put a link to his video. But I'm so glad I met Mike, and immediately he said, like, "Hey, you need to move out of the city," because I would have wasted so much time living in the old city. But the big misconceptions, the big concerns people always say to me when I say that to them, you should move into like a Thai neighborhood, is firstly they say, "Oh, it's too far. I don't want to have to travel really far every time I want to do something," right? And in Chiang Mai in particular, probably not the same for Bangkok, but actually it is the same for Bangkok, because I've got a couple of friends that live there, and this is what they tell me. So you don't, everything that you need, these neighborhoods have. So other than like what I just said about like if you want a specific type of food, but anything you would kind of need to buy, most Thai neighborhoods have everything like local anyway. So you can find yourself living in a Thai neighborhood and never actually really needing to leave that neighborhood, only like once in a while. So that really shouldn't be a concern, that you're going to be away from everything and you're going to have to travel every day into the city to get what you want. You will visit the city less, because obviously you won't need to visit it, right? So that's false. That's false that you're going to have to travel everywhere to be able to get anything. The second response I always get from people is similar to that first one, is that it's far. Now, again, this is based on living in Chiang Mai. I've only lived in Chiang Mai, but nothing is far. Nothing is far in Chiang Mai. So I'm not talking about going out and living in the country, in the sticks, where it takes 2 hours by car. I'm not talking about moving out to Chiang Mai province, like really far out. I'm talking about moving into a neighborhood that's outside of the old city. And if you've been to Chiang Mai, if you just look at a map, it's not big. So even if you did need to go into the town, it's not far, nothing's far. You can get across the whole city in half an hour. So that's not really a concern either. To conclude, I guess the point of this video, and if I could give you one piece of advice to any of you guys that are looking to come to Chiang Mai or stay in Chiang Mai or Thailand for that matter, for an extended period of time, is if you're staying in a Thai neighborhood, you're going to be vastly better off. Your money's going to go twice as far, and there really aren't many downsides besides not being able to get a good English breakfast to living in a Thai neighborhood. I mean, even if you, again, nothing's far. If you want to get into town, try and get your own motorbike. If you don't even want to ride a motorbike, but you still want to live in a Thai neighborhood, like I say, number one, you're never going to really need to leave the neighborhood, and number two, if you do, you can always just get like a grab taxi, right? So grab taxi is like less than 100 baht, will get you across the entire city. You're talking like $2 to $3. Okay, so it makes so much more sense to live in a Thai neighborhood. I hope that answers a lot of the questions, because I've had this question a few times. People always asking where's the best place to live. What I will do for you guys is I'm going to put together kind of like an article or like a list of all of the different Thai neighborhoods around Chiang Mai and the different districts and areas. Basically, I'm going to create a blog post for you. So If you click the link below in the description or in the top of the comments, you can go over to my my website. It's called askchiangmai.com. You can read the blog there, and if you want more details on kind of like the different neighborhoods and where's best to live and the proximity from the city and stuff like that, I will include all of that in that post for you, so you can get some more information on this precise topic. And until next time, guys, I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. This is Brett from brettdev.com, and we're out.